everybody. Welcome to SpiritCast. Welcome to 2026. I'm very excited today to be bringing you a little information from the group about what's ahead. Now, we do these SpiritCasts every month, usually toward the end of the month or toward the beginning of the month, but we normally do just questions and answers. The group has started recently actually giving a message and giving a channel at the beginning. So it's taking on kind of a new format. Today, we have a lengthy message. The group wants to talk quite a bit about little things that are going to be happening and beginning in 2026. So in some ways, this will be a little bit of a predictions seminar, but the group will take it where they want to go. Now, please understand, we're on the planet of free choice. This is the direction that things are moving, but nothing is set in stone. We always have free choice. And that's why the group wants to bring this information to us here today to be able to talk about. We also have been blessed to have Debbie with us, of course, and Debbie will be working with some of the questions in the chat room itself. So say hi, Debbie. Thanks for being with us, Debbie.
Hey, thank you.
Good. Okay, we'll bring her back in a little bit to answer the questions toward the end. What's going to happen today is we're going to go into this channel. I kind of know the direction they're going. I know the topics they want to cover, but I don't know how long they're going to take on each one or what they're going to go into. There is a lot of material here. We'll see how it works out as far as time. After we're done here, I'm going to come out of channel and I will actually answer some of the questions that have been sent in to questions@espavo.org. And then toward the very end of we usually go about 90 minutes max, but toward the end of that time, we'll bring Debbie back and she can answer any questions that you want to put in the chat room. So in the live chat room here at YouTube, you're welcome to answer any questions at all. If you happen to be watching this on our site, steverother.org, it is streaming also live in the free section, but you won't be able to ask questions there. So if you want to ask questions or be part of that, you'll have to go to YouTube and use that chat room there. So thanks for being here, everybody. I have a couple of things I want to bring up before I go into channel. I'm very excited about what we just did. I just finished a seminar in Holland. It has been somewhat of a return for me to a place that I have always kind of considered my second home. Holland and Belgium both have been just wonderful places for Barb and I both. We traveled there for many, many years, had wonderful experiences, met many of the family there, and we just had a ball. So we do have a few things I can share with you. I'm not going to share a whole lot of pictures, but we had an absolute wonderful time working with all the things that go on with the seminars, the live seminars, and it was quite an experience. I also got to experience 30 years of channeling, you probably saw. That happened just a few days ago. The group came in to me on my birthday, which is January 1st. They actually came to me the very first time on my birthday, 30 years ago on January 1st. So we got to celebrate that. It was really wonderful. We celebrated a lot of different aspects of our return to Holland to bring the family back together in different ways. It was awesome. If you were there, thank you for being there. I absolutely loved my time with you. We will play again, I promise that. We do have a seminar set up. It's not definite yet, but I will tell you it is coming up. Another live seminar that we'll be doing in Belgium. And that will be in a place called Turnhout, which is very close to the border of Holland and Belgium. And we'll be doing a 2-day event on April 18th and 19th. It is not available yet on the website, but I want you to mark your calendar if you're interested in being there. And if you happen to be in on that continent, I'd love to see you. So anyway, come to see us. We'll be in Belgium. You'll have a lot more information about that. We have a lot of catching up to do as far as many of the things that we're working with. Another piece that I want to talk about These are kind of advertisements for what's going on for us, but this is really how we get the word out to a lot of people. Lightmaster is our high-end course. In other words, it's the highest level course that we have. We don't pull any punches in there. We don't try to describe too much. We go into the deeper material as much as possible. It has always been the Lightmaster Mystery School. The Mystery School simply meant that we didn't always know exactly what the group was going to talk about. They were going to take us a new place every time, do something slightly different. That is starting to change. We're going to start in February with the Lightmasters. We started actually this month. The Lightmasters normally have 2 special events on the first and third Friday of the month. And then we put the focus events, whatever topic we're talking about, in between those. This month we have no focus event. The Lightmasters, the group really wants to get started with. They want to bring everybody to a higher level. In February, we're actually starting with a structured event. We're going to be working, we'll actually show you what we're going to be talking about, the topics that want to be covered from now all the way through September, which is the end of the Lightmaster course, the 2600 series. I'm very excited about this. I know the group, and I know that sometimes they'll say they're going to talk about this and then they'll end up talking about something else. But the reality is this gives us kind of a base as to where we're going and what we're going to be talking about. What are we going to be talking about? Well, we've been covering this last year, we've covered nothing but fifth dimensional tools, things that work in the higher vibrations. That's what the Lightmasters have been focused on this last year entirely, to be able to work together in this way. And what we'll do is we're going to be going this way through the whole process, which will work in this way to bring us through to use the tools that we've been working with in the fifth dimension, to actually put them into use, how that works, where the areas of improvement can be, and so forth. So that'll be the Lightmaster structure that we're going to be going for. We also do the focus events, which is open to anyone. You don't have to sign up for a long process through that or sign up for a recurring billing or anything else. The focus events are usually 2, maybe 3 days. We're going to be working with February, March, and April are going to be on the same subjects. Those are going to be the fifth dimensional tools that we work with in February. Now, this is a 9-day event revealing the secrets of the tools of higher vibrations of the new planet Earth. And the 9 days will be 3, 3, and 3. You may know about triality. We talk a lot about that. But we'll be doing 3 days in February, 3 days in March, and 3 days in April to bring this one in. We're going to be covering a lot of wonderful pieces. I will share with you just a little bit of what that looks like and what's going to be covered. We're going to be covering red light therapy. We're going to be covering pineal gland activations. We're going to be covering light touch, which we just did a Lightmaster course on. For you Lightmasters, if you're not caught up or if you're behind, that is Lightmaster LM 2604. Started, or maybe it was 2605, 2605. We just did it the other day. Really interesting ways of working with fifth dimensional touch. We're also going to be working with the pause breath, which is all about bringing the spirit out, techniques to bring the spirit forward in your realm. We're going to be working with heart-based discernment. Discernment's a high fifth dimensional tool, but has usually been in the brain. Now we're going to work with it in the heart. Then there will be neutral observation, which is strictly from the observer. He's going to teach us how to look at things unattached, how to see the larger vision of everything. We'll be working with energetic hygiene, how to cleanse ourselves, how to keep the grounding going. We'll be working with 5D grounding in the physical body. Yes, we are going to have physical bodies in the fifth dimension. We're already there. Then we're going to be working with living in triality. Triality is all about the threes, the secrets that Tesla knew, how to use those in process. Then we're going to be doing animal communication as a final piece to kind of bring some of these things together in that way. And the final one, of course, is, I thought that was the final one, using universal energy. This is the Akasha. For you Lightmasters, you know what we're talking about here. We'll explain it in very brief explanations, but show some techniques to be able to do that. And then, of course, we're going to also be working with multi-dimensional travel. This will be split up into 3 different months, 3, 3, and 3. You'll be able to choose the ones you want to go to. If you only want to go to February, you can go to February. If you want to go to March, you can go to March. You want to go to April, you can go to April. If you want to go to all of them, we give you a discount on it. So you'll have choice. And we're putting these up here for the first time. The group just gave me this a couple of days ago. I'm sure the order will change, but we'll get this set up on the website as soon as possible to be able to share with you. But I absolutely wanted to share with you. We have a lot coming in 2026. Very excited about it. I also really want to welcome our Russian family. Many of the Russian family, of course, cannot see us. They can't watch on the internet. There are restrictions in different ways. It is my hope to change some of that, at least on this level. We recently did a seminar in Russia online, and my hope is to actually travel over there in the near future on a unity tour to be able to start bringing the hearts back together. If any of you know, the Russian people are just incredible. I just absolutely fell in love with Russia and the Russian people. They're amazing, and they're part of the family. They think the same way we do. Some of them are well beyond what we even talk about. So we have a lot to share and a lot to learn from connecting once again with people all over the world. So please welcome the Russian family. Know that we're all from the same place. We're working in marvelous ways. So we'll work together on that too, but I wanted to at least acknowledge that. We'll be doing seminars in Russia online as much as possible. We have some new connections which have really opened some doors for us. Okay, that's all for catching up with what's going on with steverother.org. We have a lot of interviews going on. For those of you who are familiar with the front page of steverother.org, when I do an interview, I'm doing a lot of interviews, but when I do, I usually put it on the front page in that little green box there from Steve. So you'll be able to see some of the things we do. I try to put them up when they're live, but many of them are pre-recorded and then they go live at a certain time. That's kind of how I do my podcast as well. The Backstory podcast is always available. You'll find it here at YouTube as well as the free events section at steverother.org. Okay, the observer's tapping me on the shoulder, said, okay, you said enough. It's my turn. I will bring in the observer. We'll ask you to find your center for a moment. Take a couple of deep breaths. Let your spirit move forward. Let the smile come to your face, the brightness in your eyes. Let it begin with us. Greetings, dear ones. I am Observer. I look from afar, never with judgment, but only to perceive the larger aspects of what you are. Not just you, but I look at the universe. Now, this day, I wish to share with you some of the things that will be triggered in 2026. You see, you are entering an incredibly powerful year. 2026 will be, number one, a year of change. Humans are not too crazy about change most of the time, but we'll tell you that too, because it's also a huge year for possibilities. So keep that in mind. Can we tell you exactly where things are going? Of course not. You're on planet of free choice. You can change things at any time, but we can certainly give you a vision of what this looks like from a higher perspective. So with that, we'll talk about a year of possibilities. You mark things in your world. You've done this over and over. You have one very common one. You have your dates. Today is 2026. It's the beginning of 2026. But if you go back 2026 years, it was the time of Christ. Now they're actually moving away from calling it the time of Christ and calling it the time of the common era, which is perfect. But it marks a huge change in the direction of humanity. You are at that moment now. Everything is about to shift in a very big way, which is why we want to share some of the possibilities for you to create the highest potentials that you can in your own world. Take a deep breath, everyone. Bring the excitement along with you as we travel with you this day to share with you some of the beautiful things that we see coming. Number one, we've been talking about the fifth dimension for a very long time. The fifth dimension is here. You're living in it. You have been living so long in the third dimensional reality, and even in your lives, of course, your lives have been working toward living in a third dimension, learning the tricks and the tools of the third dimension. So when you moved into the fifth dimension, you continued to create the third dimension inside the fifth dimension, which you're still doing. However, you're starting to anchor new pieces of fifth dimensional reality, things that have only been dreamt of and talked about for eons of time are happening now. You have many pieces of this in spirituality. You have been talking about light body for many, many, many years. Well, we're going to speak about that a little bit too, because all of these things are actually projections of what will take place as humanity moves into a higher frequency. And please understand, the fifth dimension does not have a time. You created it by a collective consciousness, which actually triggered and anchored in 2012 on the 12-12-12. So it began. Now, anchoring more pieces of it brings everybody up a little bit higher to think of things in a new way, in a more powerful, empowered way. This is what we call anchoring. When you grab a new piece and you bring it into your world, you not only bring yourself higher, but you bring everyone higher. You are part of something magical called the human race. You're connected to every single being on this planet. We hope that in the beginning of 2026, you start to see that connection, because once you see it, you'll never forget it, and your world will change. Let us tell you a little story of some of the things we see coming. It might help to explain some of this, and please understand this is simply a large observation that I have been watching for quite some time, but it might help you to understand one of the important changes that are taking place. Number one, we have been working here with reverse aging. We've done a course on reverse aging, and then we followed it with a course on ageless body, how to move into your ageless body and use it. Let us explain why we're doing that. In the fifth dimension, as you move into this higher frequency, and of course it is not a place, it is a frequency. So as you move into these higher vibrations, things change, including your physical body. You will see longevity start to change. Your physical bodies were originally designed for more than 300 years, and yet you typically only live about 83 at the most. That's generally the lifespan of humanity at this moment, and yet it's changing. Now, you've seen the potentials of the change, but you haven't seen the big spike of the change, which you will start seeing in 2026 and beyond. And we'll share with you why many of these things are happening. But as you start to increase your lifespan, you have a challenge, because your societies do not recognize some of these attributes that you will be carrying. So let us explain a little bit of what we're talking about by telling you this simple story. We're going to take you back to 1945. It goes much further back. And as we say, we're giving large generalities here so you can kind of see the progression. But in 1945, things started happening. And if we go back to the way that things worked, when a child grew up in these days, they would learn how to be an adult. One of the greatest things a child wants to do is to become an adult. And of course, adults want to be children as well. So it's kind of an interesting trade. But as you grew up, you had these ideas of what that was, what that would look like, and so forth. All of those ideas are changing. You're also starting to live longer right now. That is going to spike big beginning in 2026. You will probably even start to see the results by the end of 2026 of what we're speaking about. If you don't see the actual results, you will certainly see the potentials and the way things are moving. But back in 1945, in that general area, when children were growing up, they were taught to be like their parents. Very simple. They were taught to emulate their parents. The young boy would get these energy stamps from his father. The little girl would get the energy stamps from her mother or other beings around there, and they'd get an idea of where they were going, and they would copy that. Well, that was quite successful in those days. Now, you can see this in different ways. One of the ways that we will illustrate this for you is very simply in the music industry. You can see a lot that is planted because the music, dear ones, vibrates the universal energy. All music is a replication of music from home, always. It's interesting because when a musician learns and masters something on the keyboard, on whatever it is, they never lose it. And when you come back the next lifetime, you pick it up where you've already learned. You don't have to relearn many things. So these are beautiful beings that will teach us in a very unusual way through vibrating the universal energy. In those days, again, people would come in and try to copy. So you had people like these. You had Frank Sinatra, you had Dean Martin, you had Bing Crosby, you had Perry Como. We do not have pictures of them, but if you saw pictures of them, you would see them wearing suits, a tie, just like their parents did. This was typical, and the music emulated that. They would always try to complete the same music or the same types of systems that everyone else had. And it worked. Then, around 1945 plus, all the way through the 50s, you had a massive infusion of Atlantean and Lemurian reincarnations. The reality is, we've told this story many times, after Atlantis sank, you stopped time. You had a big gathering, and you said at any point, if planet Earth and humanity can reach this level where we can jump to the next vibrational level, we will come in and try to make that happen. And you did. 1945 plus, everything moved. And again, some were even coming in 1935. So you had this, we're giving you, again, generalities. This era marked a shift from external authority to inward truth. Freedom of mind, body, race, sexuality, and spirit. Things changed at that point. The perception of humanity started to shift at that point. And things started working. You had something called the culture. The culture itself changed and things started showing up. One of the things that showed up you called the Beat Generation. This happened in the 50s, which actually set the stage for the counterculture that came in the 1960s. These were revolutionary times. These were counterculture. You would look at something and go, there must be a better way. Whatever it was, even if it was successful, you would look at other ways of doing things. It opened up humanity in massive ways, very, very quickly. From a cultural standpoint, you had books like On the Road, which was actually channeled material from a gentleman by the name of Jack Kerouac. You had Allen Ginsberg. You had all these people who were basically planting new ideas of empowerment. And it was magical, and things shifted. The Atlanteans and the Lemurians brought in a whole different energy. And at the same time, feminism arose. And you started to balance the equality of masculine and feminine energy. It started a whole bunch of things that you can talk about. You have a lady by the name of Simone back in those days who actually challenged gender roles and identity. You had Betty Freeman, who marked the second wave of feminism. You had whole new ideas coming, and not the entire world, because anytime you have massive changes like that, you have counter to the counterculture. You have many people who are very afraid of change, including your government at that time, or several governments. Now, from a music standpoint, you saw the change as well. You saw the typical people that would stand on stage with their and try to make music very similar to that of their parents. And all of a sudden, you've got Elvis Presley on the stage doing all sorts of things that embarrassed everyone, but that started the counterculture. Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Buddy Holly, you have them one right after the other, all bringing in a new energy. The Big Bopper, you can name one right after the other that was quite different. This was a counterculture. They did not dress like their parents. They did not use music like their parents. It started a new process. This, dear ones, came from the Atlantean and Lemurian influence that came in on those early days. You also had mind expansion. You had a gentleman by the name of Timothy Leary, a professor, who basically said, turn on, tune in, and drop out. And it actually expanded consciousness of all of humanity. You may have those possibilities coming in the future. We'll see how much fear is based around it. But the reality is it opened minds everywhere. It brought possibilities to land higher truths in a very dense planet of humanity. These things have worked quite well. Of course, in your music, it changed even further. You had the Beatles, you had the Moody Blues, you had all the different ones of the 60s and 70s, and of course, everything went forward from those points. So you're starting to see the influence of how everything, generation after generation, had followed certain rules, and they changed. You're at that junction again. We'll share with more about it. The interesting part about what happened, and with reason we're bringing this up, is that every generation after this has disregarded truths from the previous generation. The reality is that in the 60s and 70s, everything started to change. They were anchored. In the very beginning, they were considered to be crazy people or kooks or just counterculture people. You called them hippies, you called them all sorts of things. And yet, they brought in a new energy, and that was incredible. And they did so in a counterculture. Here's how you do things. Let's look at new ways. So that process has continued on and on. It has opened incredible doors and ways of thinking that have changed everything. But this has also created societal norms that tend to disregard the wisdom of older people. Now, please understand, that's not wrong, but it's one thing that may start to change, especially as you start living longer in a fifth dimensional reality. So the truth of the matter is everything is changing, including a lot of how long you live. So these are aspects we tell you to become aware of. There's much truth that has lived before you. You can benefit from it. You can ignore it. You're on the planet of free choice. It's up to you. But we tell you, everyone is going to get older. And as that extends, you're going to have more to do than you ever thought possible. The whole idea of retirement will go away. It is one of the killers of humanity, and one of the reasons that you don't live 300 years. You have this idea that you will stop working at some point. Well, dear ones, the wait is the gift. That is the truth. When you have something that you are working on, even if it takes a lot of effort, it saves your life. It can extend you. You stop doing it, it will start to shut down. It's a normal process. So we ask you to start anchoring some of these ideas in 2026, because this is the beginning of a massive wave of change. One of the changes possible in 2026 is a change to incorporate the wisdom from all beings. You'll find that there's new possibilities opening up, which will make sense on so many different levels. We hope you enjoyed that story. There's much more to that. There are the Amor stories that we have told over a very long period of time about Lemuria. Some of those will be coming back because in the fifth dimension, you're actually going to be experiencing life very similar to what you had in the days of Lemuria. This will be interesting. Now, take a breath. We have many more pieces we want to talk about. Age, living longer, longevity, all the rest of it is one of the most important pieces you will see anchored in 2026. Now, you also have technologies. Technologies are exploding on your planet. Why? Well, you've always had help, dear ones. You've had help and had technologies which have been dropped on your planet from time to time from some of your parental races. Sometimes they've exchanged them for other purposes and do different things. What happens sometimes is that technology is dropped on your planet, which simply means someone gets an idea and puts it into use. But when that happens, sometimes the technology doesn't work. And the reason for it is the collective vibration of humanity has to be high enough to support it. You are reaching these levels now, and that is unfolding a tremendous amount of technology that is right in front of you. This will be part of the new common era, or whatever you decide to call it. But the technology advances can be wonderful. You are also very much in fear of many of the technologies that are evolving. Are these correct? Should you be worried about AI? Should you be worried about some of these? Well, that's going to be up to you, isn't it? You'll decide these things. But you have a lot that's going on with technology. Let us start first by some of the wonderful things that technology will bring. Number one, we talked about living longer. Technology will absolutely and is currently extending your lives. Humanity, by the year 2030, average age of 90 plus will be commonplace. That's very fast. That's coming very fast at you. You've never moved at that kind of rate, and it's about to happen. So you're going to extend your lifespans pretty quickly because of technology and many of the things that technology is working with. You also have diseases on your planet. You always think of these as negative. You think, oh, I did something wrong. I caught something. Maybe I wasn't true about something, or maybe I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing. All of those things are possible. And yet, you can learn something from every one of these. You have things that have been on your planet for quite some time. We'll take cancer, for instance. When the collective learns what cancer has to teach you, it will go away. That sounds very simplistic, but the reality is you haven't learned that yet. Keep your eyes open. Watch. Help when you can. Become involved in some of these things. Alzheimer's, right on the verge of leaving. Obesity, right on the verge of leaving. Heart disease, on the verge of leaving. Aging, absolutely. Addictions, on the verge of leaving. Does that mean you're going to discover a pill that we don't know? That's up to you. We tell you the lifespan of some of these, you are starting to learn the collective lessons that these particular things have. Cancer itself will not be leaving right away, yet you will learn to diagnose it much faster. And that will alleviate a lot of the problems with cancer on your planet, because it is one of your number one killers, obviously. And one of the things that you've learned to basically sort of control, but not really. Because the truth is, you haven't really learned what it is yet. You'll figure that out soon because it is a collective lesson for all of humanity. Do not fear it, dear ones. The fear itself opens the door for each of these to expand. You are creator beings. If you hold fear in your heart, you will manifest it. So smile. Work your way through it. Bring the spirit forward. Use some of the fifth dimensional tools to anchor a new reality in different ways. One of the scariest things that seems to be happening on planet Earth right now is called AI, artificial intelligence. We find this fascinating. You have created many things on your planet. This is only one of them. But you have these things taking place very, very quickly. One of them is called AI, artificial intelligence. One of them is called quantum computing. One of them is called ternary computing. One of them is called analog computing. One of them is called hybrid computing, which can be any combination of these things. These are just the beginning of your new technological evolution. They are happening at an incredible pace. They're going to bring a lot of change. As we've mentioned, one of the things that the technologies will bring is a time of no more secrets. Now that can be very scary for humans. That can be particularly threatening for corporations that are built on secrets. But as you develop these technologies that have the ability to very quickly scan everything and come up with answers, whether they're correct or not, you're going to find that secrets are no longer that easy to keep. You'll find a lot of things happening because many of these technological things are happening at an incredible pace. They are here now. You can actually use quantum computing right now. Quantum computing, by the way, is simply based on it's based on a different process. It's based on the ideas that were basically developed in quantum theory, in quantum mechanics. They use these to actually create a qubit instead of a bit. It's fascinating to see what happens. The actual computer itself is tiny. You would lose it if you tried to hold it in your hand. Yet the cooling required takes up a huge amount of space. So you're not there yet. However, you're learning to use hybrids of this. This is happening right now. There are computer manufacturers which are trying to put things on hold because the technology is moving so fast, they're almost afraid to make an effort and start producing something. This can have wonderful effects. Can it have scary effects? Of course it can. You have computers that will learn. They'll help to feed 8 billion people. We'll tell you that right now. Your farmers will be able to see things from a distance. Your farmers will have technologies which will help them tremendously in many different ways very quickly. You have 8 billion people weighing on this planet right now. And in truth, you have no ways to feed them all, which is why there is so much hunger. That can change. It will take your hearts, it will take your openness, and it'll also take technology. It's happening. Entertainment's another area that will absolutely be interesting. You turn on a television show right now. You turn on a movie, perhaps. You love this movie, so you call your sister, your brother, you call your friends and say, hey, watch this movie. This is a great movie. We tell you, you can watch that movie. They can watch the same movie with a different outcome. Tailored for them. There's all sorts of things that will be happening in these areas that will open up possibilities. You're seeing it taking place right now. Another area, as we enter the time of no more secrets, is investing. The stock markets of the world will now have capabilities of using the highest computer models to do things that every single person can use. When every single person can use it, the reality is you won't have an advantage because everyone will have it. Now that will change everything. And instead of putting your money out there on a whim, on a possibility of growth, on something of this nature, or maybe that this would expand and you would get some dividends from it, it will even out the scores. And we tell you there is a lot of money that will be resisting this change, obviously. Many things will change very quickly. If you are invested in this, take a look. See what will happen when these massive tools of prediction come through to every single person. It's happening now. It happened only a few years ago that everyone could change and exchange shares of stocks themselves. Before that, you had to go to a stockbroker who had exclusive rights to do that. All these things are shifting very quickly. These will be areas that will be changing right away. You will also have what you call avatars. You have them now. What these are quite interesting. Most of them are on help desks and other things of that nature. Many of them are simply a little character that comes on your screen and starts talking to you in AI, starts answering your questions. The reality is most help desks throughout the world have already switched over to AI. It is much cheaper. It is also very frustrating for most people that are used to dealing with a human. So you will find that taking place very quickly. But these digital clones will be everywhere. They can also be your personal assistants. There will be a lot of resistance to this, and rightfully so, because you cannot extend a person through that technology at this time. So these are some of the fun things that will be taking place. Some will land properly, some will not. Some literally they will enter your world and then they will leave. Well, these will be up to you as to how you work with these and how they work for you. You will find active ways to use these digital clones, but for the first part, these will be advancing slowly. You're seeing this right now. You've seen this all the way through 2024 and beyond. Now you're going to see it take place in very big waves. You know what? You vote on your planet. You vote all the time. Even we're not talking about politics. You are voting with what you support. You're voting every time you buy something. And interestingly enough, many times the companies behind what you bought are actually using your money to influence you in different ways. We'll talk about this again as we go forward. But these are things that will become extensions of your personality, and they will sort of have you. Now, there's all sorts of rules that will try to be brought in, but in truth, you're late to the table with the rules. Humans did not make the rules in time. The genie is out of the bottle. It's not going back in the bottle ever, no matter how hard you try and no matter how many rules you put into place. So figure it out. Look at what you're doing. Look at what's happening. And rather than try to resist it all, accept what is there, look at it, make the highest potential. There are wonderful things that will change your world as you move into these directions. And you choose. You may not wish to have avatars at all, but avatars themselves and extensions of yourself will begin to have personalities and personalized memories. That is happening right now. You can go to your ChatGPT or any of the other ones, the Google ones, all the different ones that are available. You can go there right now and they'll address you by name. They'll remember who you are. They'll remember the work you do. They'll put things in a certain way because that's how you've already done it. This can be greatly helpful. It can also be frustrating. So what you're looking at right now are ways to identify what is done by AI and what is done by a human. You probably won't be able to do that, even though humans will try. So what we ask you to do is to start sharpening your discernment. You'll know internally. There is discernment of the head that we have been teaching for a long time. We are going to begin teaching discernment of the heart. Discernment is simply choosing. It's choosing without making judgments. In other words, you have two choices. You choose the highest potential that can empower you, and you don't call the other one bad. You simply say, this is for me, maybe at a later time, but not right now. That is discernment, and a big, important tool for living in the fifth dimension in the new reality of the new planet Earth. And discernment of the heart will be huge. Dear ones, you still have war on your planet, don't you? It's sad to see. This is part of the reason you are being watched very carefully right now. We'll speak more of that in a moment. But let's speak of what we call war games. Much of your technology has been developed around war games. A lot of things that were originally developed to be war toys are turning out to be very helpful for you in different ways. You have also created some of the greatest fears of some of your leaders. You have an industrial war complex that basically runs a lot of your countries. Yes, you think politics runs it. Nope. The money runs it. And the industrial complex is huge. It's quiet. It's under the scenes. But suddenly you'll see someone talking about making this change, and you'll vote for them, and you'll say, and all of a sudden they'll make a different turn. They'll change in a different direction. They'll make a right turn when you weren't expecting it. Because the influences involved with the money. Your different democracies throughout the world are basically money versus people. That's how they've evolved. And that's what's happening today. We'll talk more about this down the road. And please understand, it's not wrong. It's just part of what you have evolved into. And if you become aware of it, you can change it if you wish. Now, with the war games themselves, it's already changed because of much of the technology. You have developed hypersonic delivery systems with hypersonic missiles that can move at 7 times the speed of sound, Mach 7. Which means that they can strike almost anywhere in the world in less than 10 minutes. They also avoid many of the Star Wars shields that you have put up in different places because they move so fast they can't be tracked in the same way. That changes the way one country looks at another, and much of the way that you have done this before. These shifts will take place very quickly. You'll also see large arsenals starting to disappear because they won't be needed. You see, if you do go to war, it can be over very quickly. It will all be, the technologies will be about the first strike because there may not be other ones. And those are things that you have to look at. Now, the good part about this, all the countries have it. Because of that, no one wants to push that button, because there will be repercussions everywhere if this starts. In fact, this has caused a lot of attention from your parental races, which is why you are being visited so much by what you call ETs. Talk more about that at another time, but we wanted to touch on that because they're watching you. Can they stop it? Maybe. They've stopped it before. They've made their presence known with your war departments in different countries and different places throughout the world. They'll be here again if they are needed. But right now, they're looking in many different ways to be able to work with this and reduce some of these challenges that you have learned to play with war. One of the other areas that you will see, of course, is entertainment, like we talked about. You'll see things taking place in different ways, which will be wonderful. You'll have personalized things. You can watch a movie, and it can have all sorts of scenes in it that you don't particularly want your child to use or see, but you really enjoyed that. They can watch the same movie and have different outcomes very easily, have different things removed, have different things shown to them that will interest them versus what you see. Things can get very personalized. And a lot of this will not just be used for entertainment, it'll be used for teaching. You have opportunities to have brand new teaching tools on your planet. if you can move fast enough to engage them, because they will be exploding. Some of you remember a time before cell phones. Some of you, like the keeper, remembers a time before computers. The world has changed drastically. We can tell you, you are looking at changes that are going to be some 500 times what you experienced during those evolutionary moments. It's happening. You also have mechanics. You're seeing the self-driving cars. You have started to move over to electric vehicles. You'll find other things that will even save more than that in the very near future. You actually have them, but you don't have them in production yet. You will. One of the most important aspects that will start to take place that will change your world very quickly is called magnetic cooling. Right now you have different things on your roofs. You have air conditioners, you have refrigerators, you have all sorts of things that control your temperature. They're very expensive. They also usually use different attributes which can be very harmful to your planet if they leak. You're trying to become aware of that, but there's a whole nother aspect on the horizon that may start shifting this and changing everything, and very cheaply. This can be a big one. The self-driving cars themselves, obviously, no secret to tell you that this will take over in the near future. There are many people who love to drive, and there'll be many people who have their special cars. They don't want to give that up. They don't want to be able to do that. So they want to hang on. They want to drive. They want to be in control, and they will pay a small fortune in insurance because they will be the only ones on the road that will be having the accidents. It will improve. That's what AI does. Your machines can now learn, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing. Take a breath, everyone. You have also robotics right ahead. Robotics is a whole different area. You have many areas that are popping up, but you're seeing the robotics show up in your houses for quite some time. You have Alexa, you have the Google's discs, you have all the different aspects that are there to assist you. There's possible, of course, to have a robotic person or different aspects of robots that will be there for personal assistance. They will learn about you. They will have the clothes set out for you that you think you want. They'll have different aspects that can actually make your life easier. Now, in the beginning, of course, this is going to be limited to people that can afford it. It won't be available to everyone on that level. But as it starts, it will be. It will move in that direction. It will be very commonplace to have your personal assistants the same way that you have your AI right now. You have ChatGPT you can go ask a question to. You have Google. You can simply put it right in there. You have the co-designs, we're having difficulty pulling up the memory right now, but you have all these different companies that are coming up with their own flavor of AI. It can be wonderful. It can make life easier in different ways. You will also have sex robots. We mention this because of the fact that basically sex and pornography, as difficult as that is, and as many problems as it causes on your planet, it also built the internet. It is what caused the internet to explode the way it did. You'll have something similar with robotics in some ways. It won't be quite as bad, but you also see that it will change sex work in general. What you call prostitution may change a little bit, may actually get a little bit safer, as some of these places will also have sex robots. Just a fun thing to think about in some way. One of the attributes, again, that will draw a lot of attention and money toward building new aspects of this. And of course, like the internet, it won't stay in that area. It just grow in that way. One of the fun things that you'll also see in the area of robotics is clothing, wearable technology that can help you in so many different ways. There's all sorts of aspects that will be coming very soon as you start to see wearable technology. Many of them will have their own batteries built into the system, not the type you're looking at now, way too heavy, but you also have, of course, your chargers that will not only create the sun and turn the sun into electricity, but your body heat as well. There's all sorts of new things that are coming from wearable technology, which will be absolutely incredible, make your life easier. Right now and for several years, you've had robotic surgery. That is magical. The benefits of robotic surgery are huge. It's already happened. You have probably the most popular one on the planet is called Da Vinci. The keeper himself has been operated at one point from a robot. Little tiny scars that used to be very long, very short recovery periods, which used to be very long. Massive advantages. Instead of the doctor working on you and leaning over and doing all, he's sitting behind a computer working the robot. And the robot is intuitive, so if he makes a mistake, it corrects him. There's all sorts of things that are coming in this area, which will help with life extension, as we mentioned. And then, of course, you have prosthetics. Well, what if you had smart prosthetics? Very quickly, you will adapt to that in different ways. Your physical body can adapt to a lot of things that you have been aware of. You always wonder, if you have a robotic hand that moves in this way, when you think of it, how is the connection? What are the actual wires hooked up to? You don't need to worry about that. Your physical body figures that out for you. That's been going on for a long time. Wait until you get smart prosthetics on the other side that can assist in this as well. You will see a lot of things taking place that will ease the pain of being a human. And that can be marvelous. Now, from a larger aspect, from society, your societies are changing very quickly. The society adaptation actually creates a lot of energy. What society is afraid of creates problems. You'll see this happening again. You're seeing authoritarian rule pop up in different places throughout the world. These are cycles that tend to go back and forth. They are back and forth in different ways. Now we're going to say something to you that might be a little scary. You are being controlled. Interesting. Now that scares people, and of course, right away, you want to disregard it. But what is advertising? Has that not been around for a long time? Are you not aware that the more that you see something, the more that you accept it into your world? Are you not aware that you can be influenced by watching certain things? Of course you can. What you're not aware of is how far the technology has gone in those areas. That, hopefully, will start to be unveiled in 2026, when you can see the ways that you have been controlled emotionally. You'll see different aspects of these. These have to do with your cognitive biases. You all have things that you have learned as you grew up. Some of them have even been brought in from other lifetimes, and these are your biases. They're not wrong. They're just the way you think and the way that you work. They're all contained in what we call the bodysuit. They're all part of that. As you become aware of how you are being controlled, you will start to reevaluate many of your cognitive biases and not be able to be controlled in the same way. Also, the level that we've spoken of now twice, this will be the third time, is heart-based discernment. You'll love this part. As we start working with this, it's a way of internally running everything through you. And of course, nothing can happen if you are together, which is why you have been so effectively separated. I'll tell you one aspect about the separation, and we will speak much more of this going forward. If you are on one side or the other, you've been separated. Oh, we know, you all think you're on the right side, but you're on a side, you've been separated. Take a look at that. You'll change the world with that aspect. Archaeology. You're finding out a lot of things about humans. You're based on finding remains is basically what archaeology is. You dig in the ground. You uncover cities that have been long gone. You have so many things that you're starting to do. And all these things will start to change as you understand that some of the early humans had different types of bodies. And they don't leave the same aspect that you are digging up in the ground. You understand, dear ones, you have had ETs as your parental races. We tell you there were 6 of them. You did not completely come out of Africa. You came out of different places. And this is why you have so many different races on your planet at this point. These are blending together. One of the greatest things you can do is race mix. You're blending all of humanity and love together in some absolutely beautiful ways. We are so thrilled to see that this is much more acceptable on planet Earth than the past generations. You're making things work. You're finding out you are all one. Archaeology will change. One of the things that you currently believe, you believe that actually modern humans, Homo sapiens, have been around for about 300,000 years. We're going to tell you that blended races, which simply means that your parental races also had sex with the humans. You had blended races. You have different places throughout the world where you have uncovered the giant bones. Yes, many of those are artificial and so forth that tell stories, but you've uncovered this in many places throughout the world. This was one of the parental races. Now, the density of this is different. You can see different places throughout the world, including the Great Pyramids, including many aspects in Peru, where stones have almost been melted together, where there is no space anywhere. This is not possible today. And yet it was there. You have blended races where they were part of you for a long time. You had what you call today light bodies. They don't leave the same residues. And we tell you that humanity and blended races actually go back 9 million years. You'll find this out in time. But uncovering different aspects of societies that existed that were supposed to be hunter-gatherers and actually had fairly high technologies for their time. You're discovering this over and over again. You'll see more of these things uncovered. You'll start to uncover much more of the parental races and what they're doing. We do not call these ETs. We call them EDs because they know how to shift dimensions. They're extra dimensional. They live right next to you. Some of them live on Earth. They wish to be seen. 90-degree orthogonal matrix change, and they enter your world. They do things that seem to violate your physics with their spaceships. Are they actually violating this physics? Well, you've captured many of them. You've tried to reconstruct the and unfold and basically back engineer how it's done without success because you don't know how to shift dimensions. You've even talked to many of these ETs. Are there going to come a time where they show up in your sky and they say, "Take me to your leader"? Guess what? They're here. Absolutely. Before we get into that, let's talk about spirituality for a minute. You're going to see many formal religions starting to fade a bit. Not right or wrong. You'll find that people will need individual spirit connections much more than a common one to come in like with. Now, one of the things that many religions actually produce, which is absolutely wonderful, is community. It's a whole process of coming together in a single idea where people can agree on one aspect. And that will need to be created in different ways if these start to fade. They've started to fade in different parts of the world over and over again. You'll also find that religions are actually behind many of the wars that you've had on planet Earth. And that's a very sad part about using spirituality in very exclusive and improper ways, according to us. Now, You're also going to find that this is giving birth to the empowerment of the individual spirit to step forward and to claim your power of creation is huge. And that's the 80-20 that we've talked about. Right now, in the third dimension, you're carrying about 80% of your weight is from the physical body. About 20% of it is spirit. And we don't mean weight as far as calculating how heavy you are. We mean weight of the actual weight of the being. Now, it's possible to change that. And with the technologies that are here, with your advancements of living longer, with all the things that are directly ahead, and the fifth dimensional realities, it is possible to start changing that and to reduce that figure of the weight of the physical body. What if you didn't have to worry about so much? Do you know how much energy you spend in just moving that physical body around from place to place? Wouldn't it be wonderful to... All of you have had dreams of flying? Of course. Many of these aspects will return in time. You probably won't see this actually evolving in 2026, but you may see the beginning of it. And these are things that we like to mention because they will be working in your favor. The multidimensional walls are starting to thin. You're starting to see shadow figures out of the corners of your eye. You're starting to hear things that you don't know. Sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night because someone called your name. Came from another dimension. There are times when you go into a deep sleep and you wake up and they're calling you by a different name. You know it's you, and you're married to a different person. You have a different children. You have different aspects. And then you wake up and you're back. And you never forget it. You actually drifted into one of your other dimensions, your simultaneous 11-dimensional reality. These are thinning, part of the fifth dimension. Light workers are bringing in a brand new light. Now, what of the ETs? Well, you're being watched. You've been doing this for some time, but now you can see it. This is the 3-eye atlas that you have named. This is massive. Now, one of the greatest fears of the 3-eye atlas has just evolved. There's many things about this that we can speak of, but you're uncovering it right and left now. Again, please use your discernment. There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there. The reality is humans like conspiracy theories. So you tend to go in those directions on your internet. Conspiracy theories and outright lies travel 7 times further and faster than the truth does. Just turn around and look behind you. There was a time, dear ones, where a huge part of your planet in the United States actually believed that children were being abused at the basement of a pizza factory. The reality is humans will attach themselves to many of these things because it makes you feel like you know something others don't know. Perfectly fine to take this information in, but heart-based discernment will have you look again. Because your head can be fooled, but your heart is different. And these are happening now. The 3-eye atlas is watching the universe. It's about to move toward Jupiter. It wants a closer look at Jupiter. This is an active spaceship. It's not just a spaceship. It's a city. It's larger than Manhattan. It's huge. Now, what has recently happened? Interestingly enough, your plane of, if your sun is here and your planets are moving around, they're basically, although they're not exactly level, they're basically on a plane. Well, the 3-eye atlas happened to enter at exactly that spot where it could look at all the planets in your solar system and get a closer look. Of course, planet Earth has been watched 3 or 4 times already, examined in different ways. Now it's moving toward Jupiter as it makes its way back out into the universe. But it's also left behind little babies. And that has happened in the last few days. You'll hear more about this in time. Is this a big fear? No. You have many beings that will advance further than you, technologically and so forth. heart-based discernment. Keep that in mind. 2026, dear ones, is a year of change, but it's also a year of great possibilities. We tell you one thing you can do. Take it away from you. Each and every one of you have two things you can do to change everything in your world. Number one, start giving. Whatever it is, start putting something into the world. Many of you work in ways where you produce something, you put something good into the world. That's perfect. Some of you don't have those attributes, or you're not in a position to be able to do that. There's other things you can do. Donating blood is huge. Organ donations, wonderful. Stem cell donor registry. You can sign up for this and be matched with somebody all across the world free of charge. They do everything free of charge. You also have many different attributes. Some of you can give money in different things if that is appropriate for you. And does it make a difference how much? Not really. Not really. What happens is when you give, just say, €1 or $1 towards something, you've invested in it. You become part of it in some way. You're going to find out that there's many of these things that you can do in different things. We will also tell you that much of the energy that you've gone through is working in incredible ways. You are beautiful, wonderful beings of light. You're about to step into a higher vibrational reality. All eyes of the universe are on planet Earth because of this. There are many beings, as you well know, that are farther advanced technologically, farther advanced, have been around much, much longer than 9 million years. And yet none of them have shifted vibrations and frequencies the way humans are about to do. Take this as a year of change. Take this as a personal challenge to do something better for you. No matter who you are, no matter what condition you're in, you can be on your deathbed and turn it around now. You're needed on this planet, which is why you're here, which is why you're watching this right now. Enjoy the journey, dear ones. No, you're never alone. You're part of a large family of light. It is with the greatest of honor we ask you to treat each other with respect. Nurture one another at every possibility and play well together. I am observer. I like to watch. Espavo, dear one. Sorry, everybody. I'm kind of a hard pull out there. Let me. I will invite all of you to watch something. I watched it for the first time the other day. I don't know how I missed it. It actually was created in the year 2003. But there's a video. It's out there for many people to watch. I watched it with tears in my eyes. Sarah McLachlan's one of my favorite artists. If you've taken a live seminar from me, you know why. We use her angel song at the beginning of almost all of our seminars. Absolutely magical lady. In 2003, she made a video called The World on Fire. I would invite you to go take a look. Bringing tears to my eyes. Beautiful message for all of us to take in. Okay, I need to take a couple quick breaths. We're way over on time. Debbie's here waiting. I'm going to try. We've got quite a few questions that are backed up. They're wonderful questions. I really want to get to them. I think what we're going to do today is bypass the questions and come back with them in a special event. We would normally take these to next month, but we have so many of them, we're not able to get to them. I'm probably going to bring back a short Q&A during this month, sometime during the month before the next SpiritCast, to be able to answer some of these questions. But in the meantime, there's many of you that are live in the chat rooms. And if you have questions that you'd like to answer, if you haven't already, put it in the questions in the chat room, and we'll bring that in and let Debbie read those for us. Okay? Thank you all for being here. Let's take the first questions. Hi, Debbie.
Hey, hey everyone. Hey, Steve. Are we ready to roll?
We're ready to roll. There's a little bit of a lag between what I speak and what she's been hearing, in case that's why. Perfect.
Okay, we do have a few questions, and I'll read the first one from Nicole. She says, my employers are offering to help me find a house. My heart constricts when I even think about it, so I declined. But now I'm just not sure if it is intuition or if I'm blocking myself. Can you help?
Acceptance is one of the most difficult parts of manifestation. What if you sent that out and your employees were actually responding to a request that you sent out to the universe? It happens all the time. My wife, Barbara, brought this to my attention all the time. When she would go into a casino, she would win every single time. It was strange. She only played slot machines, but she won almost every time. And we tried to find out why, and it turns out that she just expected it. She said, people do that all the time. She said they create something, and then when it comes to them, they go, oh, no, I can't do that. It would mean that I owe them, or I can't do that, or I have to do this myself, or I didn't learn the lesson or something. And she says, I just receive. I just say, thank you. Probably what happened. Say thank you. Dare to accept and watch the miracles, because what happens is you're actually negating them. The gift belongs to the giver. The giver is the one who benefits from the gift, not the receiver. And that came from my father, not from the group. All right, he's here. Sorry, guys, the group has me completely open here. I can't hold the tears back. Anyway, accept it. Accept everything you can. Back to you, Debbie.
Thank you, Steve, and lots of emotions flowing today in this new year. All right, we have a question from, if I get back to my chat. All right, this is from Marsal. She says, speaking of archaeology, what are the mysteries behind Göbekli Tepe in Turkey? Can you share who the builders were and whether this site was a temple, and if so, for what purpose?
I'm sorry. She's giving me signals that my microphone was not on. I had to cough. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, and I'm probably saying that incorrectly, is one of these places that existed long before. We discovered it. We thought that back, and I don't know the dates, but we thought back then that everybody on Earth was a hunter-gatherer, that they were all in this hunter-gatherer stage. When in fact we had we had places that were existing. We had advanced technologies in many of these places. Göbekli Tepe was basically a huge place that was built for spirit. It was built as not just an edifice or not just an honoring of spirit, but basically a communication portal that was built over and over again, what we today would call a spiritual portal. And it was built for that. You've seen it. It was also hidden. You have to understand, Göbekli Tepe was one place that was intentionally hidden from view and finally uncovered. And they've only uncovered a small portion of it so far. There's much, much more coming in that area. You're also finding out a lot of different things that have gone way before that will change your visions of archaeology and the history of humanity. It's an exciting time to be here. Back to you, Debbie. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Steve. And that was a little more down to earth as far as maybe getting your emotions under control. But anyway, I have one more for you so far. See if anybody comes up with another one. But this is from Nicole as well. She asks, I always start things passionately, but I always end up abandoning them halfway through or even earlier. I haven't been able to find the real reason I do that. Can you help?
Yeah, this is a habit, is what it is. We get excited when we start something. Humans, the spirit comes on, the connection comes on, you start channeling. That's how we get ideas. We bring them through. I know we call channeling different things. I believe from all the channeling classes that I get, we all channel. We just call it different things. But the reality is that's what opens it up, the new creation. Then the completion of it sometimes fades. You lose a little bit of that excitement. You lose a little bit of the channel because it becomes not from spirit anymore. It becomes, okay, how do I accomplish this? And what do I have to do? And how do I have to call and set this up? And what do I need here? And what business model am I going to, all these human things. Many times we'll take something in a different direction. Several things you can do. Number one, you can push yourself to complete anything because that can be helpful. You will gain a lot of confidence, even though it may not be as much fun as beginning it. Another thing you can do is to find a place where you can just start things. I used to be in construction, and I also knew quite a few people, like people that would set up McDonald's. They would come out and they would start the whole thing. They got really excited about building a new place and training the staff, and then they would move on to something else. These are things that would excite you. These exist in different ways. So you don't have to complete everything. But if it's something important to you and you lose steam on it, find somebody to work with. Find somebody with a similar dream that can help pick up some of the stuff from that point forward. I think you might find that we're not alone. We're not going to create anything alone. And the more that we can hold hands, even in projects, the easier we can do. Because people like you that get excited about these things and start things are very valuable if you have a team. Take a look at that, see if that might help a little bit. Okay, back over to you. And I can go to some of the ones that were sent in if we have time, so that's fine.
Okay, I did have a few more come in at the last minute here. First of all,
Sure.
I want to say we've had a lot of messages to say happy birthday, Steve. So, yeah.
Thank you.
So
January.
they're aware and glad to see you bring in the new year and the new birthday.
Thank you. I'll simply say that January 1st was my birthday. It was also the 30th anniversary of me channeling the group. I turned 75. I'm very proud of it. I'm very excited about the rest of my life. I'll tell you, I'm just getting started. Here we go.
Fantastic. Boxer wants to know about the sun and what is flaring from it.
The sun goes through regular things. You can obviously look up a lot of the information online, which is very valuable and very validating from a spiritual standpoint. We go through regular solar cycles. We're at the end of solar cycle, I think it's 15 right now. But basically every 11 years, we go through a solar cycle where we start getting these solar flares. They all start from sunspots that grow and then they explode into the universe. What do we get from them? We get neutrinos. Humans don't know too much about neutrinos. It's one of the greatest things that we're all looking for. In fact, you may be aware of the Hadron Collider in CERN, which goes underground over, I think, 3 different countries, mostly in Switzerland. But it's a particle collider where they bring things up to almost the speed of light and then smash them together so they can find out what they're made of. They're looking at neutrinos in a very big way right now. In fact, they're building a much larger Hadron Collider just to go after neutrinos. You'll also find many of the old mine shafts that have been abandoned now have neutrino receptors and collectors in there so that they can study them. Humans are very interested and have been for many years about neutrinos, what they are. There are billions of them passing through your body right now. The science basically says they are so small, they pass all your atoms, they don't have any effect on you. The group says no, they do. They charge us. They charge us in positive ways and negative ways. But we have learned how to work with that and to adapt to it. So when you see a big solar flare, and most solar flares aren't pointed at Earth, most are pointed out into the universe. But recently we've gotten like 2 or 3. We had a big X8 not too long ago. And then there was an X4, or actually it was an M4, but it was in such a way because the sun is spinning. So when it spits something out, it brings this big tail around. If it is aimed directly at Earth, we get it. And we get it up to 72 hours later. Usually about 36 hours is when it'll hit. It hits very big. Of course, you hear science saying, watch your computers, and it can make communications go down, and sometimes it does, but very rarely. The positive benefits is that we get charged with a beautiful energy, and the Earth gets charged. So that's what the group says about it. I hope that helps. There's a lot of research on this. I love to, you can go to, in the United States, well, anywhere really, spaceweather.com. We'll get you there. You can even sign up. I think it's $4.95 a month. And you can get notified every time there's a solar flare. There's all kinds of fun things you can find out about it to be able to set that into motion. Hope that helps. Back to you, Debbie.
Okay, I'll skip over a couple personal ones, and we can add those if we do have time, but this one is more for everyone. From LEZ, there is a lot of talk about society collapsing and that we need to be ready with food and water supplies and weapons. I don't feel a need or call to prepare. Any insight?
Yes. You have a vibrational change going on your planet. It's very simple to see. Unfortunately, because of the way that humanity has worked in duality, it has been almost most probable that people will come in to destroy something before it can be rebuilt. This goes way back. You find it in Hindi. You'll find the Shakti had to come in and destroy everything so the Shiva could come in. Maybe I've got those backwards. I think the Shiva destroys and the Shakti rebuilds. Anyway, basically the male energy destroys everything. The female comes in and rebuilds everything. That can start to change. But it has been our history here on planet Earth. As we move through higher vibrations, the last pieces to move are the systems. We're talking about the monetary systems. We're talking about the political systems. You're seeing politics go crazy. Right now, politics is incorporating technologies that we're not even aware of. We're seeing things happen. If you remember that far back at a company called Cambridge Analytica, they had the formula many years ago, back in 2014, I think it was, about how to influence an entire country to vote a certain way. And it worked. And it's worked over and over and over again. Heart-based discernment will avoid this, because now we're starting to look first at how we are alike instead of how we are different. This is part of the separation that has taken place over time. Do we need to be afraid of it? No. You're going to have this happen all the time. But are we going to have collapses? Yes. The group has actually predicted a financial collapse for a couple of years now. We keep putting it off, which we can do. If humans get hope in something, they change everything, even at the last minute. So that's fine. But this is one system that has to change. Politics has already changed. It's all over the board right now. So we're seeing different things take different aspects and come apart. Do we need food and water? You know, I don't actually think we need all those things, and yet it might make you feel better. The reality is everyone should always have at least some canned foods, some very simple things. The only thing I disagree with is the weapons. And I live in Las Vegas. There are more weapons in this city than in any other city in the world because of all the gun shows that take place here. So people have 2, 3 guns here at base. When people use them, they usually die. Usually people that are trying to defend themselves end up killing someone or being killed by their own weapons. That is commonplace. If someone comes into my house, I am not going to try and fight it. It's very simple. I have cameras everywhere. I live in technology. So the reality is, come into my house, do what you want, get out. We'll talk about it later. That's the type of thing. That's what I do. Do I have investments in stock market? Not anymore. I pay attention. I invested in gold. I've invested in silver. I've invested in some basic things. That's my preference. It makes me feel better, and that's why I do it. Not because to have some great advantage when everything collapses, as is predicted by many people. One of the persons that I have followed for financial advice for many years is Warren Buffett. And he's saying, get out of everything, get cash for everything. He's been saying it for almost 2 years now. So I think he sees what the group has been seeing. Hopefully we can make these changes slowly instead of the crash that we had in 2008, the crash that we had in 1929, all the massive things that have taken place that have basically had us reset. We put laws into effect which prevent that from happening again, and then the lobbyists change the laws, and we open it up and we do it over and over. And that's happened in the United States many times. It's happening now. All the safeguards that have kept us out of these things have been removed by the money. Again, money. Well, and money is not a bad thing. We all make decisions by money, don't we? We all look at, oh, we only have so much money. What can we spend it on? Or how can we make it stretch? Or what can I invest? It's not wrong. But money has taken much of the energy and much of the control that we don't see. We can change that. And the funny part about it is we're being controlled by our own money, by what we spend, by what we buy. It happens. And it's happened on a very big level. Because of the laws in the United States, and particularly one law in particular, we can't see who it is. And it's being hidden from us. That may change. And that's my hope for 2026. Okay. Back to you, Debbie.
All right. This one, again, is a little more universal question than a personal one. So, dear Steve and the group, is there knowledge and advice to be taken from astrology systems like the Western and or the Chinese?
All of them have truth. Every single one of these can be used. Are they all perfect? No, they're not perfect. I'll take it a little step further. I'm going to talk about science and I'm going to talk about metaphysics. We keep waiting for this gap that goes where science agrees with metaphysics and metaphysics agrees with. They live in different worlds. And astrology lives in the world of what we would call metaphysics. So science is science-based. It's all about, can we prove something? Can we measure something? Can we see how it's worked in the past? That's what science is about. And we need science. Science is great. But science can't do it all. Science cannot measure the one thing that is most important on this planet, and that's love. They have no way. They have no way to calculate it, no way to measure it, no way to do it because it lives in a different world. So does astrology. Astrology started from people looking at the sky, obviously wanting, first of all, to not only honor and pray to the sun and burn your eyes out, because they didn't know that, but different things of that nature that have started over and over again. And it's been absolutely amazing to watch, and yet you're starting to see some massive changes of how that's worked with, what the appropriateness of it is, and every other aspect. We have massive changes in front of us. Let's make this one of them. Astrology has a lot to do with it. Which one is best? You have to choose. And furthermore, I don't believe anything has hard and fast rules like you would experience in a scientific world. We live into metaphysics. Take what you can from it, honor it, plan your life. I have a very good friend of mine. She will not do anything when Mercury's in retrograde. Very simple. She just, Mary, we'll put this off a couple of weeks. And that's fine. She believes in it. It's good for her. It works for her. She believes, and she's a creator being, as we all are. So that's what I would say. Take the messages as they come in, very similar to a channel. Can you prove a channel? Can I prove that I'm channeling? No, I can't. It lives in a different world. Choose that and use all the tools. You have pendulums you can swing to get answers. Are you actually moving the Yes, but you don't know it. Your higher self is actually moving your body. Sometimes your spirit moves your body to bring you into contact to things that can answer your questions. Astrology is a great way to do it. I hope that helps.
Okay, here's a quick science question for you related to the explanation about the sun flares. Are neutrinos another term for tachyon energy particles?
I don't know. I've heard of tachyon energy particles. I know that in metaphysics there are tachyon repellents, I guess. I don't remember what they are, whether they're supposed to be good for you or protect you. I don't remember, but I remember seeing them. I remember seeing the word. I know nothing about that. So I have to say what the group calls the 3 wisest words that any teacher can say. I don't know. Back over to you.
Thank you for that. But do you want to try to answer a couple of the personal questions?
Well, let's answer one and then we'll let it go, because we're going to have to move on today. We try to not go beyond 90 minutes. Attention spans fade quite quickly after that.
All right. Well, I'll read the first one that came in after we've done the others. So this is from Mentora Marta. Why is it so difficult to end the relationship that I had with my ex? We're already divorced since many years ago. Any help?
You don't actually end relationships. You just stop being together. That's what it is. Group has a lot to say about relationships, and I have to say I'm in the same boat. I have relationship problems from time to time myself. I was very fortunate. I found my partner in high school. I married her. We stayed together for 50 years until she died. So maybe I'm one of the lucky ones. Maybe it was the group doesn't actually believe in soulmates the same way we think we do. They do, but they say there's multiples, not single. So there's different ways of looking at this. The one thing the group talks about is you never end a relationship. That person's always going to be in your mind, in your heart. When you two touch, you become part of somebody. We just did a whole Lightmaster course on this. And if you Lightmasters are watching this and you're behind, go jump forward to get this one. This one was awesome. It was all about light touch. It was all about what happens when you touch another person. You become part of them. When you make love, that's probably the most intimate touch that you can do. You become part of each other that stays with you even when you part. So they're part of your life. Now, you can think of them negatively if you ended negatively, or if you're able to walk and carry them, just say, I love you, but I can't live with you. Whatever the case, whatever it is, know that they'll always be in your life. Now, if you're lucky enough to actually end a relationship and turn it into a friendship, it doesn't happen with many people, but that's something that we would all strive for. The interesting part about relationships, the group says, humans don't remember relationships. They remember the way it ended. Lose that. Remember the good parts. Remember those fun pieces that you had. Remember the beginnings of it, the excitement, the honeymoon stage, all of that stuff. Remember that. Carry that smile on your face, and you'll be able to walk forward, have other relationships, but that person will still be in your life in some way. Not a bad thing at all. Debbie, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thanks, everybody.
I just got back in the country, and I didn't have this set up, and Debbie jumped forward and helped out in a fantastic way. Also, I will tell you all that we are looking for volunteers to do certain things. We have a nonprofit organization here called Espavo, and if you'd like to be interested in more of it, contact me. You can contact me at steve@espavo.org directly. If you're interested in volunteering for anything, the main things we're looking for right now is people to work with YouTube, to learn about some of the new things that are going on with YouTube. It is one of our key elements, and help with social media in general. We have a social media expert, but she's really busy. So we're looking for lots of different things to happen. I also have a podcast. I can use some help with organizing and so forth. So if you're interested in becoming part of a very active organization, consider joining us. Espavo, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us here today. 2026 can turn out what we call good, or we can turn out what we call bad. But if we hold hands, we can walk through this with a big smile on our face. Let's do that, shall we? Espavo, everybody. I love you dearly. Thank you.